Hello, my name is Olga Gerchik. I am a board member with nonprofit organization Global One. We're based in Ohio. We're really focused on global solutions for local problems. So, Connie and Lo, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm Connie Matthews, and I am the founder and CEO of RenCon.
Why we decided to have this training? What's the employment situation within the cybersecurity industry?
Sure. So I'm sure we've all heard of cybersecurity jobs, and we hear about breaches all the time on the news. And so, with all of those things, this industry is really exploding. So, right now, globally, in the United States, there's about a little over 500,000 opportunities in the cybersecurity space. And just alone in Ohio, we have a little over 12,000 openings, and that's continuing to grow. So the one thing that I think that you should keep in mind is that cybersecurity is one of the fastest growing industries for job opportunities in the country. It also is, when you look at salaries of what people make, it's definitely on the high end of what people can make. So this is definitely a career, not necessarily just a job. So there's so many opportunities. And once you're in the industry, there's a lot of areas that you can move into and grow.
Although particular states may have a lower demand, but because a lot of IT jobs are, hire people remotely and most of the work is done online and remotely, there is definite actual access to all of those employment opportunities nationwide.
I mean, one of the things that, that came out of COVID was organizations now can't really say that people can't work remote, because we've all been doing that now for almost a year now. And so a lot of big companies that we work with all over the country have really moved to opening the demand by allowing people to work from their homes and things like that. So even though we talked about a little almost 12,000 in Ohio, when you look at the whole United States, it went up to 500,000. So, and when you look at just around the Ohio area, I mean, that's going to be probably 30, 40, 50,000 openings within somewhat driving distance for folks in Ohio as well.
Yeah, we were looking at the map earlier, and it's like 65,000 cybersecurity professionals needed in California or 50 in Texas. What's an exciting way to connect to an employment in that area. So, what are the prerequisites? Who can apply, and what do they need to consider when they make that decision?
Lou, do you want to take that question?
So the prerequisites are having a foundation in security. If you have a Network Plus certification, that would be great, but you don't have to have that if you have the experience cited in a Network Plus. Security Plus is a great foundational course. It doesn't focus on one area of security. CompTIA is good for basically not being vendor specific. They go over different areas of security, so it gives you a good foundation when you get into security at the beginning and gives you good knowledge overall.
So, to be clear, Lo, they don't have to have that certification. They just
No.
need to have a comparable experience, which
Yes.
my understanding is knowledge of computers, internet, networking, like set up Wi-Fi, correct? Who cannot apply, Connie? Is that important consideration?
Sure. I mean, because when Lou talked about some of those foundations of information technology and networking, it would be very challenging for someone that doesn't have some of those fundamentals and foundation topics to go into this, and they would probably be a little frustrated. So, many people like tinker in their own homes and, set up their own networks, and they are troubleshooting and help desk for their family. So those are types of things that would apply as having that experience. So you definitely want to have some foundations around networking.
The 40-hour course, right, of training time. Can you explain how it's set up and
Sure.
how it's scheduled for this particular class?
Yeah, so normally this is a class that's offered 40 hours in 1 week, but we really wanted people to have a little more time to, study on their own and read on their own and do some research, and not just throw so much at people in 1 week. So what we decided was to do one night a week.
for 4 hours. And that allows people to kind of absorb more. I mean, when you think about sitting in a classroom for 9 hours or 8 hours, that's a lot. So we really wanted to take the program a little slower to give people more opportunity to learn. We offer up to 1 year of online training as a supplement to the instructor-led training, which will allow people to work with labs and really learn by not memorization, but actually applying concepts.
So that sounds like a great reinforcement in practicing and self-test type of tool that you can use in between instructor training. How many hours would you say they will need to spend with that?
Sure. And Lou, you can add too. I mean, I would honestly, if you're doing 4 hours a week, if you could, apply 10 to 15 hours a week at most, just kind of going over the concepts and working with the 1 year subscription. And the other thing that I didn't mention is this actually would be able to expand even beyond the Security Plus because there's different modules. And it's really for, beginners, intermediate, and advanced. So there'd be opportunity to learn even beyond what's covered in the fundamentals in Security Plus.
I think also that it depends on how much of a background you have. If you're really comfortable with networking computers and that environment, you'll probably need to spend less time. If it's a lot of it's new to you and you feel that you just have enough to get by, you want to spend the extra hours to make sure that you understand the material.
Yeah, and my understanding, this is like guided training, right? It's fun, it's easy to follow, it's kind of gamified. You get like prizes and points for that. So it's a great way to learn. Something Global One brings into the mix additional value is, especially for people that transfer into a new career, there's a lot of challenges around how to present yourself, how to update your resume, how to prep for an interview, where to apply for a job, how to evaluate different offers. There'll be support with updating resumes. They will conduct mock interviews. There is a network of employers. We can put you in front and give you a chance to hold an interview. And this online programs that will offer one-on-one job search and interviewing and employer networks, that's another $750. So you get $1,500 of additional value plus the $3,000 that is worth the training itself. But you only pay $3,000. You'll get a $250 early bird special.
No, you guys explained it well. I guess going through the course, at the end, what do they get? A certificate, or what do they get as far as a certificate, and how is that usable?
So we will provide them a certificate of completion of the course, but the court to actually get to be certified with your CompTIA Security Plus, there would be an exam that the students would need to take. And we can definitely provide that information. There's all kinds of free self-study guides, and you can take tests to practice, so that before you go in and actually pay for the exam, hopefully you can go through it as many times and you're feeling really good about your success rate through those practice tests.
And I guess another thing from a practical standpoint, what's the salary levels? You mentioned high paying opportunities. What are we looking at, generally across the country?
So it's going to really widely vary depending on the country, because obviously the West Coast and East Coast are so much more expensive. Lou, I know you have more experience hiring kind of entry level security operations center kind of folks. What would you say would be a good range in the Columbus market?
So usually a lot of it depends on the experience behind it. But I think most of the people that are hiring in at that level, the salaries start around 50 to 60,000. The more experience, the more money you get. I mean, I see when you look at postings, you see analysts where their salaries can be from $60,000 to $120,000. It depends on the company, size of the company, the size of their department, and basically the experience and the tools that they have.
So this
sure.
is a
And-
great opportunity for a lot of people. Those are very good wages, especially entry level. And,
Yeah.
you know, after 3 to 5 years, I'm sure those incomes go up pretty substantially as well.
Yeah, and that's one thing I think people have to keep in mind is that, you know, I know people that have master's degrees that don't even start their careers at that rate, you know, at that kind of salary. So it's definitely, you know, and it's trending, it's still kind of trending upwards. And so, you know, honestly, as you move in, have more experience, I mean, you know, you can definitely support a family. And it's definitely life changing, the salaries that you can make. Yeah, and I think another value add would be is Lou is actually going to be the instructor, and Lou comes with multiple years of experience in the industry, and so there are some training centers that the folks that are actually teaching the classes are not seasoned professionals. So Lou is going to be able to bring the real world practicality of what it really is like, because I mean, I think we all know there's a right way of doing things, but sometimes when you're working for a company, those aren't going to be the way that things can happen. So for us at RunCon, it's always very important that we have real world scenario based training so that folks can apply it and it's not just theory based.